NASA has confirmed what ancient civilizations warned about thousands of years ago. Nibiru, or as it is translated, Planet of the Crossing, may be a heavy mass object, HMO, in addition to a dark star that is part of our own solar system. All of the hype that happened in 2012 has muddled the waters of what these ancient societies are actually writing about. Their calculations indicate that this heavy mass object, HMO, will enter our near solar system in the year 2017, next year. It swings past the Sun and is sent out in a slingshot fashion to deep space once again after that. In one of the first reports, this heavy mass object, HMO, was measured at 50 billion miles from the Sun. Less than a decade later, NASA gave the following update. Notice a distance of 7 billion miles. This report is 20 years old. Such a climate change, extinction of species, and indeed for that matter asteroid impacts by the very local real asteroids. Most of these are very small. We are far from likely to predict a 100-meter or smaller one, but that's still large enough to be very bad news for any country. The difference is we know what these are and can do something about them. So I'll talk a little about the very real asteroid threats that we should be concerned about and the amazing progress that astronomers have made already detecting them and what they could do with enough funding. Earth changes have been increasingly dramatic. Since 2012, all earthquake and volcanic activity is on a phenomenal rise. Volcanoes are now approaching 40 eruptions per day. The Nibiru Planet X system and its potential impacts on our solar system. This is what Joachim Hagopian writes, September 6, 2015, speculating and theorizing about the existence of yet undiscovered planets in our solar system has been bouncing around for centuries. Prior to each new discovery of another outer planet has come detection of anomalies in the erratic, inexplicable motions of the outermost known planets of our solar system. For instance, before Neptune's existence was determined, for decades astronomers had been theorizing that Uranus, discovered in 1781, irregular movements may have been caused by the presence of yet another undiscovered planet. Indeed, that was the case in 1846, when Neptune was first sighted and identified. The now dethroned ninth planet, Pluto, discovered in 1930, relegated in 2006 to minor dwarf planet status, and Pluto's later found moon, Charon, were then used to explain the observed wobbles in Uranus and Neptune's respective orbits. Thus, errors in calculating precise positions of known planets hold an enduring pattern of later confirmation of cause determined by each newly discovered planet. Hence, for over a century, scientists have debated that yet more major planets and dwarf planets belonging to our solar system are still out there in space waiting to be found and existing anomalies to be explained. Way back in 1940, Chilean astronomer Carlos Munoz Ferrada predicted accurately that the powers that be would attempt to cover up Planet X when it comes barreling towards the Earth. Ferrada referred to Nibiru, Planet X, as a, quote, comet planet, end quote. A comet planet because it has the size of a planet but speeds the elliptical orbit of a comet. Every government in the world has been warned about this comet Nibiru, the elite's deadly planned death of billions before event. The most controversial undiscovered planet operating within our solar system, dubbed Nibiru or Planet X, and now a new name, Planet 9, was made infamous or famous in 1976 by noted researcher author Zecharia Sitchin in his best-selling book, The 12th Planet, as one of the few scholars able to read and interpret Sumerian clay tablets. Sitchin utilized those ancient texts to make a highly plausible cause for the existence of Planet X, also known as planet Nibiru, the destroyer in ancient scripts, coming closest to planet Earth every 3,600 years. The Sumerians lived over 6,000 years ago in what is today Iraq. They are credited as the first known civilizations on Earth, inventing mathematics, writing, agriculture, law, schools, astronomy, and astrology. The Sun in our solar system is similar to 90% of the solar systems in the Milky Way galaxy, all part of a binary star system containing 2 or even more suns. The Planet X system can be considered a mini constellation consisting of our Sun's twin, classified a brown dwarf star called Nemesis. This dark star is largely invisible even with infrared due to its surrounding red iron oxide dust clouds. Nemesis possesses at least 3 planets that revolve around it: Nibiru and Helion, both with moons, and Arboda. Though Nibiru travels along an elliptical-shaped orbit and enters our solar system approximately every 3,600 years, one by one crossing the orbits of our solar system planets, it does not revolve around our Sun. In 1990, researcher-author Zecharia Sitchin interviewed the supervising astronomer of the U.S. Naval Observatory, Robert S. Harrington, to discuss Harrington's recent discovery of the red planet X. Harrington set up a special telescope at an observatory in New Zealand to track Planet X, but the renowned head of the Naval Observatory suddenly died mysteriously at the age of 50 of a rare form of cancer under suspicious circumstances. His wife is convinced he was murdered for allegedly leaking too much information about Planet X. Yet 2 years after the Sitchin-Harrington interview and just months prior to Harrington's January 1993 death, a NASA press release was still publicly embracing Nibiru Planet X as real. Unexplained deviations in the orbits of Uranus and Neptune, they said, point to a large outer solar system body of 4 to 8 times Earth masses on a highly tilted orbit beyond 7 billion miles from the Sun. Also in 1992, a confident NASA scientist named Ray T. Reynolds went on record proclaiming, quote, "Astronomers are so sure of the 10th planet, they think there is nothing left but to name it," end quote. NASA at that time did everything but scream Nibiru from the mountaintops. But ever since Harrington's untimely death, with few exceptions, the lid has been tightly sealed on any more accurate information released by mainstream sources directly to the public. Apparently, the US government had made the decision to keep Nibiru and its projected earthly destruction under wraps. In recent years, the feds have sent out trolls to disseminate information, disinformation, and false propaganda in attempts to debunk any would-be truth-tellers. The elite ensure that hired shills are planted to busily churn out concentrated disinfo campaigns smearing lies to prevent the story that never quite goes away from ever having full disclosure. The effects of such a large celestial body as Nibiru Planet X, estimated to be from 4 up to 8 times the size of Earth, re-entering our solar system, is getting off-the-chart internet frenzy in 2015, convinced it will cause enormous amounts of huge-sized space debris from an asteroid belt, potential comets, one recently cited to be 2.5 miles wide, and countless meteors plummeting violently towards Earth. It's believed that the impact of such giant objects crashing into the Earth will push the reset button for another axis tilt, likely causing yet another mass extinction and radically altering global climate zones, raising sea levels dramatically to reshape coastlines worldwide, decreasing landmass, and increasing oceanic water surface. In addition to tilting the Earth's axis, it's speculated that Nibiru's gravitational upset and electromagnetic fireworks on our planet will set off mammoth cracks in the tectonic plates, resulting in never-before seen killer quakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, tidal waves, hurricanes, record winds, massive flooding, and tornadoes. You can read now on a link here in this article. Leave now, Obama says. America must submit to the New World Order laws at UN final speech. The Earth has been getting hit by asteroids and comets for its whole life. The planets formed from collisions of smaller objects, and even our water may have come largely from comets. Heavy bombardments may have continued until as recently as 4 billion years ago, making it difficult for life to get a foothold at all. So what are the odds today? There are a lot more small rocks than big ones. So while Earth is constantly being hit, accumulating over 100 tons of matter every day, most of this is in the form of dust or tiny sand grain sized meteors that appear as shooting stars. By comparison, school bus sized asteroids may hit every 1,000 years or so. Medium sized asteroids, say 300 meters, may be once every 50,000 years, and extinction level events only every billion years. And those estimates are going down. So how big is big? In reality, it could be very, very small compared to Earth. The Dino Killer is estimated to have been between 5 and 15 kilometers across. That's about 3 to 10 miles across. That's large compared to the rocks in your backyard, but tiny compared to Earth. To lead to a global catastrophe, an asteroid or comet only has to be big enough to launch large amounts of dust into the atmosphere. That leads to the abrupt change in climate that wipes out species. The Planet X effect is setting the Earth up for a coming pole shift. The world's elite know this is coming. This is why they have prepared underground shelters, sanctuaries, and seed vaults to keep parts of the world. Global elites prepare underground cities. Planet X Nibiru begin to harm our Earth this month. Scientists are keeping a close eye on the meteor, as just a minor change in its flight path could have catastrophic consequences for the human race. Experts say if the asteroid were to smash into Earth, it would create an extinction-level event, meaning humans are toast. The impact would equal the explosion of 3 billion atomic bombs, triggering effects similar to those that wiped out the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. Conspiracy theorists are in a state of panic over this incoming space rock. Most asteroids pass class as near Earth by NASA flyby at millions of miles away, but a space rock 2500 SZ2 due today is essentially to be on an orbit of just 309,000 miles, only 1.3 times the distance from Earth to the Moon, which is 238,000 miles. So that's pretty close. Significant asteroids pass Earth every week, and NASA monitors them up to 12 million miles away, so this is considered a cosmic close shave for Earth. The cosmic skim comes straight after while predictions were made online that a huge space rock would strike Puerto Rico by the end of this month, something that doesn't appear to have materialized. Fears become so widespread a rock may be about to strike that NASA took the unusual move of issuing a statement ruling this out. The most unsettling pass was a monster 270-meter space rock called 2012 TT5, one of 6 near-Earth flybys between September 22nd and today, when online doomsday prophets claimed the world could end. What are your feelings about the possibility that we will experience a deep impact in the next 72 hours? Do you think that NASA or the government would warn us, or would they hope it passes without being noticed? Quote, "Being prepared is a perfect move, always a perfect move towards living an enjoyable life. You need to prepare for both success and failure simultaneously." I'll leave a link below for you for this article and also the video by Dr. Kaku, Nibiru, Planet X, and the Universe.
Hello everyone and welcome back. It's Matt and we're going to go through some cams and see what we can find on the cams this evening. The date again today is the 4th of the 4th 2017. I worked 2 shifts yesterday, so I apologise I didn't do a video. But I'm back now, so what we're going to do is look on the cams. And also I noticed that they did a lot of chemtrailing yesterday here in the Northern Hemisphere, northeast of the UK. And again, today, this afternoon, lots of people reported that they've got colds, runny noses, stingy eyes, feeling very low. A few neighbours have reported it too. Is this because of the chemtrailing? Something they're spraying in the skies to make us feel ill, to dumb us down, to depopulate the earth? Well, we're going to find out the truth, aren't we? Because it's coming soon, I can see. Something out there is huge and it's on its way in. They don't want us to see this, do they? The government. So that's now switched to the cams. And also for all you subscribers, have a great evening. Here we are on this Mexico cam. I use the Mexico cams quite a lot because the white screening, they make mistakes. They don't white screen as much as they should because we're seeing these objects' reflections, aren't we? But on this piece of footage, you will see that they white screen. Only one clip shows the white screen. Just down here, you will see an object, or just a huge reflection of an object in a dark shadow. This will be Nibiru. It's being cloaked all the time. You'll see the red reflection here. So I'm going to go through the cam now. Can you see this here? There's an object that's illuminated. This is on the other side from the sun. There is definitely a red heavily body that's coming through here. And then it just goes to widescreen, so you can't see it. Here, and then it just gets cut to normal. We've got this blue reflection again in the skies. I will show you again. Can you see that? They're using a cloaking device to hide this. You can see a slight line in the sky here. And then when you flip through the cam, you can see this, can't you? There is something red on the other side that's illuminating, I believe, to be Nibiru. Here again, we've got this same problem of this dark sky and that strange refraction, and also our sun with that simulator in front of it's burning through those chemtrails. Here on this image, we've got 2 object reflections. We've got this reflection here from the simulator that's cutting through those cams. And here as well, we've got this other heavenly body, this reflection. Can you see this? And the different colour, that green sky on the horizon. Time is now. It really is now. So again, just got to prepare for this. This also is today, the 3rd of the 4th, 2017. So yesterday evening's sundown on this Panorama volcanoes cam. And you can see where they've been poisoning our skies, and over there in Mexico you can see what they've done there as well. But I've noticed an object, okay, now it's white screening, so it's hard to catch, but sometimes when you keep repeating the white screen it does come in for a split second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try this and zoom in to show you this object I spotted. There it is. You can see this, can't you, this object here. Sun's gone down. You can see this. Just interesting to see that, isn't it? It could be anything though, couldn't it? But I've never seen that before behind those trails. And there you have as the sun's gone down with that simulator, you can see that haze of redness in the sky as well. Seeing this all over the world, aren't we? Just this trash that's being put in front of everything on the system and everything like that. This is another webcam in Mexico as well. This is the Puebla La Noria cam. I just want to show you this as well, it's very interesting. Here, we've got an object. There's something that's illuminated here, and then it goes down. You can see this. Watch this. It jumps. Can you see this? From here, we've got this reflection. This is not our sun. Watch. From here, from here. The sun doesn't do this. Okay? There is definitely an object that's here as well. We've got a little reflection as well, shadow. This isn't our sun. It's just basically pinpointing all the different details on the cams. It's very important to get all the details of what's going on in our skies. Something that's here. It's just to note this. I'm going to zoom in on this as well. Hold on. This, I believe, is the dark star, Nemesis, that's been seen now. I thought I'd zoom in on this as well. It's not our sun. This is not our sun reflection. It's another heavenly body that's coming closer, the sun's twin. I'm going to slow down the footage on this cam as well, and you'll see all the chemtrailing. This proves that they're chemtrailing this object, these heavenly bodies. So you'll see these chemtrails. But again, it's very strange because we don't see no planes. Where are the planes? They're using another device to cause and make these chemtrails now. Watch this footage, very interesting. Here it starts now. You can see that first chemtrail, can't you? This black trail that's in the sky. And we can see all this trash. Now, please don't believe these are natural cloudings. You can see this light chemtrail as well. But again, that's interesting. There's no planes. You can see that object down here again. And here, a reflection. Another load of chemtrails. But where's the craft? Where's these planes? They're now hiding the situation. Are they being cloaked themselves now? I mean, look at this. Trash coming through the sky, no plane. Another one, no plane. It's just outstanding, isn't it? I mean, all this trash is being now manipulated by HARP. It really is. They're using this big HARP tool now to spray our skies. All this haze in the sky is not natural, and we're breathing it all in. And it's bang out of order, isn't it? What they're doing to our skies. It really is. I've paused this piece of footage to show to you, there's no plane spraying this chemtrail. Now, it's so important to look at this. Watch this. Can you see that in the sky now? I'll move it back. Okay? Look at this. Now, that's no plane, is it? It's been just shot out, isn't it? There's no plane there, is there? Not at the front or the back. Is this a UFO that's doing this? Is this other beings, or is it military with cloaking technology? I'm going to zoom into this. Right, I've zoomed into this for you now, yeah? And take note. Watch this. Disappears. Okay, this is at the beginning. And then we get this in the sky. There's no plane on either side, is there? No plane on either side. Now, this is very interesting, and I'll be looking into this every single day. As here in the UK, we're getting the same effect. Not hardly any planes now, just these chemtrails that have been spilled across the area that we can see the sun in front of the vision of the sun. That's a long way away. The simulator that's in front of it. And now we're getting these strange chemtrails that basically move across the sky without any planes. Something is going on, isn't it? I mean, I did some videos before about them UFO rods. Now, it could be something else. Okay? I'm not saying it's UFOs. I'm not saying it's the military. I haven't got the knowledge to know what these are, but I will look into this and study this and talk to other people about this as well. Something is being fired across our skies, isn't it? And they're using technology that's so advanced that we haven't any idea about it. Are they using TR3B cloaking craft? I don't know. Have they got cloaking craft, military jets, or something? Because I'm going to show you this footage. Okay, again, this is on further on footage on this video cam as well. You'll see two others that come through the sky as well. I mean, I apologise about the white screens, but you can see another two, no jets in the sky. These chemtrails go on the horizon. Now, I know I keep saying the horizons, but they're hiding something that's sitting on them. They are smogging our horizon so we don't see these bodies that are there. Those heavenly bodies go down as well. And you will see a huge heavenly body, I believe, in the summertime of this year. They keep spraying the horizons. I'm going to go to another cam now. This is the Panoramica cam in Mexico, west. Now, look on the horizon here. You can see an object, a heavenly body that's out there as well. This is before sunrise. This is not our moon. I'm going to zoom in, but again on the Mexico cams, we can't zoom right in. But we can if we take the screen, the image off onto my web sort of graphic page, and I can zoom in. Now, I am trying to organise my videos so I'm able to zoom in much more and learn how to organise the video as well to make it much better. Because I just want to produce the true images, what we see in our skies, and zoom in and see what we can find. I'll be doing this as well in the summertime to get some real good high definition images of what's going on. We've seen some bizarre things, haven't we? Some crazy things going on up in our skies, and the government don't want to say anything. So I'm going to now zoom into this object, and you will see the sunrise. First, though, actually, I will basically change the setting here, and I will show you this isn't our moon. As it's coming up and rising, you'll see the sunrise with it. Okay, you'll see that object. The chemtrails are there already, aren't they? I'm going to zoom into it as far as I can. Okay, that's as far as I can get, but I will get closer on other videos. But what I'm saying is, that's another object that's, as the sun's coming up, is it behind the sun? I think so, because if it was in front of the sun, it'd be black. We wouldn't be able to see it. It would be too bright to see. So that object is behind the sun, to the right-hand side. I'm going to try and move this now, so I hope it doesn't come off the screen. You can see this, can't you? You can see that. Here on this Orapan cam in Mexico, we mustn't forget that red horizon, the red reflections. We can see this in the morning skies all the time. Here on this cam as well, you will see this on the next image. This red haze, this blackness on the horizon here is all chemtrails. These are all chemtrails. There is no natural clouding anymore. We are supposed to see these heavenly bodies now. As the natural clouds have disappeared, we've got a good chance to see these. All the public, humanity. In the past, they was able to see the planets clearly and had time to prepare for this. But we've got no way of preparing as much as they did, because we're riddled with the propaganda lies and also those trails in the skies. So we can't see anything. It's very difficult for us now. So we're all hunting and searching as sky watchers to see what's going on. But remember those red reflections. They're not from our sun. They're from a huge body called Nibiru. This image as well on the San Carlos cam in Mexico. We're getting an object here as well. Fades off. As I said many times before, just could be anything that's counted for in this image. But it's there, isn't it? So I thought I'd show you this before the sun's rising. This is one of the main objects I'm very worried about, and I'm studying this object as well, picking it up on all different cams around the world. Here it is, this huge object that goes down, and it's heading straight for us by the looks of things. We've got that red haze every day on the horizon, and this blue tinge above, and I believe there's lots of trash coming from this as well. So we all really need to keep an eye on this horizon from west. Now, we're not going to see the sun or any heavenly bodies on this image, but something that NASA can't do in the powers to be. They can cloak those objects if they wish to be, but they can't cloak the reflections, and they will be seen now on these chemtrails. So I'm going to flip through the cam shortly here, and you'll see these red reflections. There you go. And then they disappear. Okay? They are huge reflections from these other bodies. This is not from our sun. I'm going to play the footage. It's a short piece of footage, but I'm going to play it for you. And you'll see the colour straight away disappear on there. See how red it is? Here. Here. This is a reflection from another body. This is Nibiru. This red object, okay, that we all talk about, the Nibiru community, other great channels on fantastic people that are running them as well. We're all talking about this reflection. See? There's no reflection, and as we go through the cam, you will see this. They just can't hide it, and these red reflections are getting much more intense now than ever before. You will also see this red reflection here. It goes down. Huge red reflection. You can see the sun in the simulator behind those chems. Now, these chems are getting much more stranger by the day, aren't they? It's all over the skies, all over our blue skies. You can see this red light source, this red, the chemtrail as well. See the shadow up here, shadow down here as well. So can you see this now? Two different light sources. The sun's going down, this red reflection on the left hand side here. Can you see this? The sun's gone down, and we're getting this object that's chemtrailed like that, just blasts skies all the time, hiding this huge object. They're here. They're absolutely 100% here. We're going to get some huge earthquakes. We're going to get some large, very high tsunami waves. So again, please prepare for this, because no government from around the world will let you know that these objects are coming in now. This is the Puerto Escondido cam in Mexico as well. And as you can see on this live image now, this light object that's reflecting off these cams, and all the trash as well. It's so upsetting, because for a lot of people that want to stay healthy and want to live on our planet Earth, and they're breathing it in like we're all smoking Paramar cigarettes. Look at it. It's just typically disgusting, isn't it? You can't trust the governments anymore, because the government are now using the military. The military should be defending us, not harming humanity. The tables have turned round to us now. We're the ones that are paying out our tax money, and they're the ones that are trashing it up in the skies. I'm going to go through this cam now and see what we can find. Here it is again, the halo. They're still using that technology, that halo again, aren't they? To stop anybody from seeing what's going on. Again, have you ever seen the sun like this in the 80s and 90s? No, we haven't. Again, look at this. It's just been blasted, isn't it? Covered up. So we don't get to see any of these objects. They weren't doing this, we would all see them. Things would change. This is the last times. This is our last end times. I'm going to flick through this cam for you. Okay, what I've done is I've gone through with the cam. Timestamp would be 7:16 there in Mexico on this East Dido cam. That's what it says. It's in Mexico, so you do have some different name cams. So I'm going to show you this and go through the clip. You'll see another object to the left-hand side here. It just illuminates, shows its reflection, and then goes down. I'll show you now. Look at all the trash they throw up there as well. And you can see these huge reflections as well. And there it is. There's a reflection from another body. You can see all this as well, can't you? These are chemtrails. So if I go back, there's our simulator and sun. And then you've got that object that's illuminating now in the skies. We caught this on the Cajamar cam in Mexico as well. Same object. This is the famous Santa Cruz cam as well in Mexico. And I want to show you this red reflection as well in these cams. Because down here they're cloaking this object. They're hiding it from us. Huge mirrors. And I'm going to show you now. Can you see these pink reflections on these cams? Can you see this? And then it disappears on the horizon down here to the east. Look at this. It's not from our sun. Can you see this? Huge pink reflections from Nibiru. This heavenly body, as I said before, is just... I think we've got another year till we see some big changes of our weather patterns. And also, I just want you to really understand this is a real situation on our hands. And we've got to be a close community about this, because sooner or later things are going to spill out on media, and then we're all going to sit back and say, we knew this all along. Here's another image I've spotted on one of the plaza cams in Mexico. Can you see this reflection? Now this looks again like these objects that I spotted on Sunday last week. And they're way down there on the horizon there. You can see this, can't you? Something behind those cams. That grey haze. Can you see this? Something is brightening this side up as well. From down below here. The sun will be up in the skies. Its timestamp here is 9:55 AM. You can see this, can't you? This reflection. There's something there, isn't there? Come on. Just looked very, very interesting. That's in the skies there. I'm going to rewind the cam, okay, a few clips, so you can see this. It fades in and fades out. Can you see that here? Sort of seems to be further away, and then you go back again, and you've still got this reflection here. So if you come back, and there it is. See this, can't you? Just looks very, I thought it was best and interesting for you to see that. Here on this image as well, which was today as well, you've got all sorts of different colours. You've got this blue colour here, and this red reflection that we keep seeing now. on the chemtrails. And then you've got this other orangey reflection from the binary twin. So you've got Nibiru and other heavenly objects that are out there with our sun now. And these natural clouds not doing anything, just the chems that are doing the job now all the time. Here again on this cam image as well. As I've said before, now it's April, and then it'd be May, and then when it hits June and July, other people as well, members of the public, are going to think, hold on a second, it's still too dark. And people are going to clock onto this, aren't they, and realise that there is something wrong up there. And I believe, again, things are coming to an end now, aren't they? You can see those skies are too bleak for the time of the day. And also look at those natural clouds with the far end on the horizon. It's just, they are not doing nothing now. Again, the chems are doing all the work, and simulator has covered it, darkening our skies. I just want to point this information out to you as well. It's important, I believe, on this Cancun cow in Mexico. Now, what they do is, again, they white screen, so we don't get to see anything that's strange, different of our skies. Now, they white screen it twice, but in the middle clip they missed it out. So you will see this, that the binary twin nemesis brightens the skies, illuminates on the ground this strange red light source that lights up and then disappears before a natural sun comes up in the sky. So I'm going to show you this now. On the screen here it just looks normal as the sun is coming up on the opposite side, and they white screen it. Then we get this strange colouring in the skies, this red reflection from these objects, these heavenly bodies. This is not our natural sun, our moon that's reflecting. This is from these objects from this other solar system. And then they white screen it again. Then it's back to normal again. It's dim. Okay, so you can see this, can't you? I'm going to go back. Can you see the difference now? And it's gone. On this live Cosmocam, again, the clouds are far too low because they're pumping our skies with that much aluminium now, and barium, and all other dangerous chemicals. It's so heavy up there, and it's pushing down our natural clouding, causing stress. They don't want us to see anything, but we're going to see what we want to see because they can't hide it all the time. So it's so good that people are in tune with the whole situation. Time is now. We really have to prepare for this. Here again on this screen you've got an object that's on the horizon and another light source in the background. We're pushing those natural clouds down towards the ground. It's just another smoke screen to stop us from seeing what the truth is, what's going on out there. But going back to the other images as well, and what I've been saying about those strange chemtrails with no planes, I think it's very important that we study this, as we can now know that they are up to all sorts of other things up there, aren't they? They're hiding a lot of other things as well, because it's not just the sun they're chemtrailing our moon, and also north, east, south and west skies. There's other things that are coming in. There's other objects up there as well. And I hope to catch these objects for you as well. The next few videos coming, so I'm going to hopefully have a look now and see what's going on. So please keep safe. It's important to keep your eyes open, to notice that these chemtrails now, a lot of them don't use planes. And I had a subscriber called Tara from Spain email me this morning. Now she's an artist, as I said, and she also knows that those skies we see every day, have changed completely. Those clouds are not our real natural clouds anymore. Anyway, so big respect to you all, and thank you also again for your emails, and I will be back shortly. So respect from Matt Rogers.
We all call it Planet X or Nibiru, but it is a dwarf star. It's either a red dwarf or a brown dwarf star. Now, the object, which is clearly Planet X by deductive logic and process elimination, is therefore now between Mars and Jupiter. It's not in the outer reaches of the solar system. It can clearly be seen, especially from the southern hemisphere.
The implications and the side effects of what might happen to us here on Earth is pretty scary. We're going to get into some of that. Now, one of the cool things that David discusses with us here is instead of having to just take his word for it, he gives you coordinates on where you can actually see it for yourself. Mid-2017, he says we're going to see an eclipse with Nibiru. He has been able to take his background and transition it into research on Planet X, and has recently compiled an awesome book with a treasure trove of information. David, how the heck are you?
Very good tonight, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate you coming on here with us. I know that you had reached out to us a few weeks ago. You've got a really cool book coming up here that's going to break everything down with Nibiru. You know, let's talk about what you do.
Well, the way I got into it, I've always believed in following the money. About 5 years ago, I got into some research on the Pentagon black budget. And I don't know if you recall, but you probably do, that the day before 9/11, Don Rumsfeld announced at a Pentagon news conference that the agency was 2.2 trillion short. Money was simply missing, 2.2, not billion, but trillion. So having worked for a period of time at the Pentagon, I realized this was most likely black budget funds. And I did some investigation, and I ran across a couple of areas, basically the deep underground military base research done by Jesse Ventura, done by Phil Schneider, done by other personalities. And I realized, of course, that's likely the source of the lost money. It's black budget ops, and it's being spent. And why is it being spent in terms of these type of bases? So that's how my curiosity was picked, you might say. These bases, I understand, are built away primarily from geologic tectonic areas, but again, when Planet X passes, you're going to have new geotectonic faults established when you have force 11, 12, 13, 14 earthquakes. So I don't know how safe they're going to be. It could be a lost investment for those people. In any case, that was my basic introduction about 5 years ago, and then I got into the science of the topic. My understanding, and this is partly from Phil Schneider, I know he worked 11 years at Groom Lake, Area 51. He says the black budget varies between 0.2 trillion and 1.2 trillion per year. I'm not sure when the inception started. It was absolutely going on in the late 70s and 80s. He says a couple of dozen of these may be reasonable for protection. I agree, nuclear protection. But the question is, why do we have over 130 of these? That doesn't really make any sense unless, obviously, Planet X is absolutely a fact, which it is.
Well, so, 4 years ago, I remember reading an article on Yahoo News that claimed eventually people are going to be able to look up in the sky and they're going to see what looks like a second sun, but really it's a giant sun that exploded. I think they said it was Betelgeuse or something like that. So in my mind, when I read stuff like that in the news, I think it's, the forces behind the scenes or whoever's kind of orchestrating the media prepping people, subconsciously getting them ready for this type of event. First, it's just an explosion that looks like a sun, and then, hey, oh, it is a sun. So, do you have any physical evidence, like pictures that you can say without a shadow of a doubt, or files or white papers?
Yes, I do. In fact, there's some very good videos on the internet itself that are good photographic analysis. There's one called Multiple Suns Rise Over Halifax, Nova Scotia. Those are the keywords that a person would enter on YouTube to read it or view it. And you can see the sun. And then at the 3 o'clock position, you have planet X. To the right of planet X, you have a separate lens flare. Now, that doesn't reflect the lens flare, of course, in the water below, but planet X is generating its own light, and you can see its reflection, therefore, in the water below. Next, I think a fog bank moves in, and it obscures the sun, but planet X is still visible. A lens flare cannot do this. Now, that's one good example of something they could simply look up themselves on YouTube. There's also some good Davis Station South Pole videos out there. And there's, in my book, which is Planet X, The Arrival in 2017 by David Mead on Amazon, I've done a video, it's on page 15 or 16 or so of the book, and I have a section called Photographic Analysis of Planet X, and I study one video which another analyst did an extensive study on. And let me just sort of explain what happened. A fellow named Glenn Vaughn on April 11th, 2015, was flying down the Pacific side of Central America. He's a professor, an ex-professor at California University. He took a 20 megapixel raw file with a Sony digital camera, and he confirmed the report by sending it in to a particular analyst for review. He took it through an aircraft window. Now, an analysis of the metadata indicated it was taken at 240 dpi, very high resolution, and the metadata further showed the date, the time, the GPS coordinates. I think it was a Sony DSC HX50V camera. In any case, using Starry Night Professional version, the video, which is referenced in my book and which is on YouTube, did a field of view analysis, and he determined Mercury is above, in other words, superior conjunction with the sun, and the object in the field of view, therefore, is not Mercury. Mercury does not have wings, as does this object, and Mercury does not have the brightness or contrast of the unknown object. Now, the analyst also performed a gamma test on a paint program. Gamma testing shows if an object is hot or cold. Hot objects generate, of course, their own light like our sun. A lens flare would be a cold object. They read direct light, they don't generate it. So he started with a gamma of 1, reducing it by steps. At point 10, the gamma illustrates stark differences. At point 01, he shows the hottest, brightest objects on the video. He then reduced brightness to a value, I think, of -3 in contrast to +2. The hot objects fade in together, proving they're genuine. Then he ran a luminance test to determine the intensity of the object, and he determined it was behind the sun, not a reflection. There are actually wings on the object, which is clearly behind the sun. Now, he stated this is deeply disturbing. The reason is that gas tails of comets follow solar winds, and they're not visible until the comet's orbit is inside of Jupiter, at which point, normally the luminosity at that point of the sun makes the tails of the comet or the planet visible. Of course, Planet X, we all call it Planet X or Nibiru, but it is a dwarf star. It's either a red dwarf or a brown dwarf star. Now, the object, which is clearly Planet X by deductive logic process elimination, is therefore now between Mars and Jupiter. It's not in the outer reaches of the solar system. It can clearly be seen, especially from the southern hemisphere. Now, as of April 2015, therefore, the date of that video and the analysis, Nibiru is close enough to the sun so that the sun's light is reflected to the tail, making it appearing like wings. And there's one other quick comment I'd make, because actually that video had 2 parts. The second part was a lady who lives near where I do, Sanibel Island, Florida, Melissa Huffman. Now, you can look at this video itself on YouTube. I think it has more or less gone viral, and nearly 1 million people have looked at it. And this is a 2015 video. The object is very interesting. She pans the sky and shows the object and then the moon. Now, it's clearly a planet visible just north of the sun. You know, using stellarium and knowing the moon phases, comparing it to her video on the moon, you can go to the derived date, take away the atmosphere and the ocean, and you can determine the relationship of the stars to the horizon. So to determine the date, you basically just use moon charts, and the moon is well below the horizon in all dates after September 26, 2015. Therefore, the video was taken earlier. Now, September 2015 moon phases give us a comparable to the moon in the video. And if you look at the moon phases diagram to the actual picture of the moon, it has to have been photographed on September 23, 2015, based on moon phasing. Now, on that date, Mercury in stellarium is very dim, somewhat above the horizon. Also, I believe it's in a different location than the unknown object. All other planets are below the horizon. The video, therefore, conclusively and plainly shows an unidentified planet, or dwarf star, Planet X, of some significant magnitude quite clearly. So I can reach no other conclusion, and the analyst did himself, then this is a rare photo from this hemisphere of Planet X approaching us.
Wow. You know, and there's also speculation now, and I hadn't heard this until about a year ago, that not only is Planet X going to come our way, this dwarf star, but also a bunch of planets with it, like it's bringing in its own solar system. Is there evidence or truth to that?
Right. There's a number of videos there. I've seen some real good ones from the South Pole Telescope, and they indicate that there are a variety of moons around this. It's basically, as you say, it's its own solar system. A lot of people don't realize this, but binary, what we've got in our solar system here is obviously a binary twin. 76%, this is a fact, of all stars are binary twins. In fact, 16% are trinary twins. There are 3 suns, but ours has a binary companion, and it comes under the name of Planet X, Nibiru, and so forth, Nemesis. There are various names to it. But ours has a binary twin, and it's very common. It's extremely common, and it's basically what is approaching us. And apparently, from all descriptions, indications, reports, insider reports, photographs, and other sources of human and signal intelligence, it contains 5 to 7 moons around it. So it's a solar system approaching our solar system, which makes it extremely dangerous. The red dragon of Revelation 12 may well be, and I believe rather obviously is, Planet X, as is referred to in an earlier chapter of Revelation, I think Revelation chapter 8, in a similar manner. A colleague of mine at the university, one university in the western U.S., brought up a very interesting point, perhaps to cover up to my intention. Here it is. Basically, he said, the areas of the dragon anomaly have been covered or patched up by Google Sky in the past. But one of the ways to actually see what is behind this patched out area is to use a program called Skyview by NASA. Skyview, what that is, it's a virtual observatory on the net. It generates images of any part of the sky from wavelengths of all regimes, radio to gamma. You just filter it. Now, when you view these images in various filters, you can see the actual color of this anomaly in Virgo is red, and it does look very menacing, as it appears to have a face like a dragon with 2 profound eyes. It's very intriguing and quite strange. Now, just for your listeners, I'll provide very briefly the right ascension and declination if they want to go to Skyview. And here it is. Just cut and paste this coordinate. Here's the right ascension, 13 hours, 50 minutes, 44 seconds. Here's the declination, and that would be minus 8 hours, 13 minutes and 59.7 seconds. So right ascension is the celestial equivalent of longitude, and in the sky latitude is called declination. So you just enter those coordinates, and then on Skyview you just choose the Iris 100 micron telescope setting, and there you are. You've never seen an object quite like this one. Now, the sign itself might be a sweeping parenthetic of that entire biblical 70th week of Daniel, which is a key to solving the most complex cryptogram in existence, the book of the apocalypse. As to what it is, the astronomical scientific community, I think, is keeping a very low profile. And the question is, why did they ever cover it up to begin with?
Well, and not only that, if we could get into some of the more scientific stuff as well.
Because it's so close now, it's different. When it was first observed, probably the first time it was actually observed, it was observed in the infrared spectrum in 1983 by a orbiting Earth satellite telescope called the Infrared Astronomical Satellite. And this is when all those articles appeared in the Washington Post and the New York Times and so forth. And that's when, right before blackout occurred, there were some articles over a 6 to 12 month period of time when it was pretty much spoken freely of. And then all of a sudden, I think they realized the seriousness of the matter, and they went ahead and produced a blackout. Now, remember this, the blue daytime sky is going to hide Planet X until it eclipses the sun. But there is going to be a full disk solar eclipse right after September 23rd, 2017. This occurs, if you look at moon charts, on October 5th, 2017. And what happens, of course, during a full disk solar eclipse is the sky turns black, and that will reveal at that point, that week, in my opinion, the week of October 5th to 12th, if the book of Revelation is true, because this ties in perfectly with it, that could well be the exact month that we can first see it with the naked eye. So, in my opinion, combined with a predictive computer-generated astronomical model, the Bible, the book of Revelation, the Apocalypse, tells us that the red dragon, or Planet X or Nibiru, appears after September 23rd, 17, but it has to appear before October 11th, 2017. At that date, October 11th, 2017, the sign in Virgo, the woman Virgo, will no longer be, quote, pregnant. Then the red dragon or Planet X therefore must make it an appearance before October 11th. So that seems to be a cutoff date. Jupiter, which is known as the planet or the star of the Messiah, exits Virgo, the Virgin, on October 11th after having spent, I believe, 301 days or about 42 weeks in the, quote, womb region of that constellation. And again, after that point, the woman will no longer be pregnant. So that gives us a very narrow window, just to use Book of Revelation or the Apocalypse as sort of an intel briefing. And the great sign of the woman, is described in Revelation 12, 1-2, forms and lasts for a few hours. And according, again, to astronomical models, this sign has never before occurred in human history. It will occur once on September 23rd, 27. It will never occur again. And I believe it places us right at the time frame from that analysis of the Planet X approach to the Earth. I would prepare on or before the fall of 2017. I would conduct emergency preparedness. Of course, you want to be spiritually ready. You want to have a clear conscience and all that, but you need to do physical preparations as well. I think survival gear, emergency food, that sort of thing. And the reason is that, again, all this while you're going to get increasing levels of disinformation from the mass media until it's actually there. And then they're going to say, whoops, we didn't have any notice, we don't know what happened, and so forth. And they're going to run and hide in what they've already established. But, you know, the public is there and the public has to fend for itself. This global warming, as you've heard, I'm sure, is a cover story. The Earth is heating up from the core outward because of the approach of Planet X. During the 20th century, I think there were 35 volcanic eruptions in a typical year. Now there are more than 35 of these every single day. So basically, when X approaches, that week you see it in the sky, let's say it's October of 2017, you know, for purposes of discussion. At that point, it's not going to actually collide, I don't believe, with the Earth. The Earth is only 8,000 miles in diameter. It may pass 5, 10, 15 million miles away, but it has a very high magnetic attraction. It's going to have a gravitronic effect. It's going to cause the shifting of the Earth's crust. It's going to cause major volcanic activity. It's going to cause tidal waves. And when a pole shift happens, the ocean literally comes up out of its basin. So you're going to have major weather changes, seismic activity, and volcanic eruptions. Probably at that point, Yellowstone, the Yellowstone super caldera, will likely erupt. That could affect up to a third of the United States, cover it with ash.
Well, let me jump in here for a second. I'm glad you brought that up because you can clearly tell a difference now with how hot the sun is. I mean, even if you look at the same temperature, you know, 75 degrees now versus 75 degrees 10 years ago, although it's the same temperature, the sun on your skin even, there's just more heat there.
If you go to the book of Revelation, the Revelation indicates that the sun is going to be hotter at that time frame. Now, the EMP effect, Planet X has a massive tail. It's fantastically charged. It's magnetic. The tail has moons and rocks in it. Now, this can down aircraft and satellite when it passes. It can affect the electrical grid. Now, of course, NASA, JPL, and the other disinformation sources ignore this data. But here are the facts. The Earth has a nickel and iron core. Now, this generates its magnetic field. However, the magnetosphere has large holes in it. The magnetosphere is a static shield. Now, under routine solar conditions, it protects the Earth from coronal mass ejections. But when Planet X arrives, we're no longer under routine solar conditions. Now, you know that the magnetic poles have been shifting towards Russia at maybe 40 miles an hour a year. But when Planet X arrives, the physical poles will shift. Now, this will create some hyper-earthquakes, tsunamis, and the shifting of land masses. So if you want to look at a few different states, one thing people can do to protect themselves is simply be in the right location when it happens. Now, there's a few states to avoid. And California is highly dangerous. It's composed of rock plates. Now, when rock is compressed, it breaks. And you'll see the crumbling of rock, of course, as its mass goes upwards. Now, the West Coast will have major catastrophic changes, synergistic proportions, tidal waves, high hurricane force winds, earthquakes on the fault lines, volcanic activity over the magma. So it's highly dangerous. And I think the long-term danger is in riding out the shifts for those who are living near the boundaries of plates. Now, cities without mountains as a backdrop can just be washed out to sea. You'll have broken gas and water lines. San Francisco, it's on the San Andreas and other fault lines. A lot of the population will be trapped. Water will overflow the city. Survival will be minimal. California is not a good bet. Now, the area around Arizona, on the other hand, the Hoover Dam probably won't survive because of earthquake activity. And you'll have rivers flooding, and areas within rivers should probably be avoided. But you look at Phoenix and some of these main cities. Arizona has withstood many a pole shift. The area around Tucson is safe. Florida is another very dangerous state. Its highest elevation is 105 meters in the Panhandle. And but as for Central and South Florida and the Keys, these parts can be devastated by a tide of water. Colorado, for example, is a safe area. The domestic division of the CIA is relocating to Colorado. That should give viewers many clues right there. And of course, one of the safest parts of the country is the Ozarks, northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, average elevation close to 1,000 feet, self-sufficient water supply, agricultural land. They'll do well. They're also isolated from large metropolitan areas, and they're well enough inland to avoid flooding through, tidal waves. So it's a part of the preparation